Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche podcast, powered by Toyota and your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. The Avs, I don't think it's an accurate description to say the Avs no-showed this game, because I don't think they no-showed for significant portions. I thought they played pretty well for significant portions of this game, but ultimately they lose 4-1 to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Not a result that anyone should be okay with.
I agree. Started really strong, started really good. I think they thought they'd be in for a picnic, you know what I mean? And it wasn't, and then all of a sudden you didn't get the results, meaning like you didn't convert on your chances. Then you walk out of there 0-0. I mean, you're in the first, which you're fine on the road. Even or better is fine, and then kind of take over the second, but listen, at the end of the day, Columbus converted on a few of their chances. The Avs did not. Obviously starts with the top guys and then the power play. And nothing really was clean. There was a lot of chances, a few posts. I mean, it could have been a different outcome. We all know that. The Avs controlled play. You should. You should. You were playing against a very below-average team in this league. You know what I mean? So that's the frustrating part. I just felt that there was times they were a little too cute, you know what I mean, and they caught up to them, and they got 40+ shots. Yeah, no shit. Like I said, you played against a very below average team. You should. You're a good team. But I just felt there was not enough passion somewhere somehow, and not enough grittiness. You know what I mean? Like it was just trying to be cute and the seam passes and. Didn't really roll up. They roll up their sleeves. Wagner did. Got a greasy goal right from Pizza Hut there. A little tip. It seemed like the goaltender, Tarasenko, was seeing the puck because the Avs were there, but they were not there. So they were a foot away from taking his eyes away. They were a foot away from the little things. I just felt that the details were not there. The passion wasn't there. Somewhere, somehow, it is the National Hockey League, and it bit them in the butt. And again, not blaming Eustace, but the other guy was better than the Avs guy. That's reality, right? The game within the game. Was he lucky? Yeah, he was. Do I like Eustace better? Yeah, yes, I do. But tonight in this game, the other guy was better than the Avs guy.
I didn't like how the Avs played their transition game. They didn't defend well on the back check, and they looked a little bit disconnected in the goals against. I'm not even giving you Susanne a free pass in this game, but it felt like it was a characteristic of each of the goals against, at least through the first three. Just poor defense in the neutral zone, and then on the back check, allowing Columbus to get dangerous then on odd man rushes. And interestingly enough, too, you'll look at the possession, like the Corsi for percentage comparison between Columbus and Avs, and it's dominant. But what's intriguing is even the shots battle. Obviously, it's something like 47-25 at the end of the day.
Outrageous.
But through the first two periods, even though I felt Colorado was the stronger team to start this game, Columbus had more shot attempts on the whole when you looked at blocked attempts, which means the puck is on their stick a significant amount of that time where it shouldn't be. And that is also another strength of Colorado's game, the possession game, when executed the right way, that was missing a little bit. And I think that they underestimated Columbus because following what was a very disappointing and probably embarrassing loss in Colorado,
to Montreal,
I think that was something that Columbus took into this game, didn't take lightly. They just seen what Colorado can do, and they came very well prepared to counter it. And so that's why it's a heavy hitting contest from Columbus, and they are generating a lot of chances that Colorado is going to block a good deal of that, and then they get excellent goaltending. And that's the frustration then on the Avs side, is in the face of a goaltender having a great night, they didn't make the in-game adjustments necessary to overcome that. And that just means, like Eric was saying, digging for the greasy goals. The skill plays are going to probably be more difficult to execute when you have Columbus managing their lanes pretty well and a goaltender playing well in addition to that. They overpass on the power play. And on the heels of what was such a good power play against Nashville, it's pretty frustrating that they couldn't make those adjustments on the fly when they did have the man advantage.
Yep.
And I'm starting to run a little bit long here, but that's the point of the show. We'll break down the rest of it throughout the course of it. But I have to tip my hat to Columbus for
sure.
coming up to this game better prepared. Better prepared to meet the Avs for the full 60 minutes. And I'm sure we'll break down then some of the minor but present frustrations that exist for Colorado.
Yep. A lot of it to cover. Just hit a 60-second rundown to give you the full general overview. First 10 minutes of this game, I really thought the Avs played very, very well, except for putting the puck in the back of the net. They had multiple grade A chances. Makar hits a post, a couple of open nets and scrambling goaltending that the Avs aren't able to finish. Second half of the first period got a lot more sludgy. It felt like Columbus kind of figured out how to clog up the neutral zone and limit the Avs. Start of the second period, though, the Avs are right back at it, playing very well until you get to right around the halfway mark of this game. One play hits in the back of your net. Columbus is up 1-0. And honestly, from there, the Avs kind of deflated for me. The rest of the second period felt like the Avs struggled. Columbus extends it to 2 and ultimately 3-0. The Avs do get one from Chris Wagner, as mentioned, in the third period to maybe start a comeback, but ultimately are not able to solve the offensive side of this game at all, and it ends up a 4-1 final with an empty netter for Columbus. Let's start at the top. The Avs' top players are entirely held off the score sheet tonight. The way I see it, I don't think they played the worst game of all time. I think they did a decent job of generating high-quality opportunities. But for me, that's not good enough. You are Nathan MacKinnon. And Nathan MacKinnon's been unbelievable. He should win the Hart this year. I get it. It's your job to score goals. You get paid all that money to produce. Against a team like Columbus, you need to produce. And it's not just Nathan MacKinnon. That's Mikko Rantanen and that's Cale Makar. And I get it. They're a couple inches off of being like a 4-point night for him. I get it. But you're in a game where by the halfway mark you have no goals. And it's ultimately on those guys more than anyone else to produce for Colorado. And they just didn't tonight.
It's a game of inches, right? Like you said, a couple inches away from maybe being up 2-1 instead of down 1-0. But woulda, coulda, shoulda. Right? I mean, it just, you can't live that way. Reality is that they didn't get it done. And now you're down 2. You are, getting some decent looks, but again, clean looks, not dirty looks. And you can't let it go to 3. You know what I mean? That's just the rule. It's just, you're not going to come back by 3-4 goals every freaking game. You're not. So when it's 2-0, you can't let it go to 3. If you look back at the second and third goal, both goals, they have full possession of the puck. They're below the red line. Like I'm not talking about the goal line, but the central red line there and center ice red line. And you don't manage the puck well. And 10 seconds later, the puck's in your net. So, and this is a bad team. It is. Let's call a spade a spade. It's a bad team. This league will eat you up when you turn pucks over. And again, this is what it is. You got to get yourself up to the snuff where it's not lessons anymore. It's not. And I know they've been great lately, but again, you can't just look at wins and losses. You got to look at the way you're playing, and those things need to be clean. You can't have those anymore. It's 7 games to go. This is nothing earned. It's they're freebies, and it looks stupid. It's just a moment of softness. Instead of dumping it hard, you just kind of half dump it, and then they grab it, they transition. It's in your net. They're just little things. This game is such a fine line. In about 7 games from now, it's even a finer line. Playoffs are all about little plays like that, and you just can't give anything for free to the opponent, and the opponents are going to be a lot better than what they saw tonight. Because I just felt like again, they could have gotten 75 shots. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's not the point, but the point is I didn't see it at the eye tests. I didn't see a lot of passion. You know what I mean? And then when you don't have passion, you got to play a little bit bitter. You got to play a little bit pissed off. You got to play with some passion, some energy. And I understand you're not playing an opponent that's going to the playoffs, but you have to bring that energy. You have to bring it because it's so crucial here in 7 games from now. And you'll be there, but you got to be able to handle and to play under those types of pressure. So might as well put the pressure on yourself right now as an individual and as a team to bring the energy and the oomph up to a level where it's acceptable in playoffs.
Toyota Chat's just wrong on this one. There is no universe where you can blame Casey Mittelstadt for a game where Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Jonathan Drouin, Cale Makar, Devon Taves all have 0 points. If the Avs don't get points from their top guys, they're not supposed to win.
No, and I'm also not sure. Like, I'm trying to think back to the goals against, if he played a role specifically that people are harping on. Like, I'm thinking back to him, and
second one is Manson on the right side of the red line. Third one was
Taves.
That he does kind of the same thing as Josh.
Yep.
I mean, that
first one was just not a great back check from Miles Wood.
Correct.
That's what I'm wondering where Casey got in the crosshairs
here. Yeah, I don't understand.
Everyone actually had a pretty decent night at the face-off dot, so it wasn't like he stunk it up there. And then on the man advantage, he was one of the few players actually generating high-danger chances on net. He walked away with 4 of the 5 opportunities that Colorado created. And I get it, you would have liked to see him convert, but at least he was getting pucks on net. And so I'm just not understanding the frustration that seems to be emphasized around Casey Mittelstadt. I think it can more generally be applied to the top 6 kind of.
Sure, if you want to pull the whole top 6, I'm here for that.
But even generally speaking, too, like seeing the criticism of the second line specifically, I look at the only goal for in this game, and Arturi Lekkonen's a part of it. Yep. And so even though, Chris Wagner and company, Sean Walker, are part of what makes it happen, it's a retrieval from Lekkonen, and it actually wasn't among one of the tougher lines tonight. I think the third line continued to struggle again. So I'm just wondering if my eye just saw it a little bit differently.
I'm with your eye on this one. I don't know where the Casey Mittelstadt hate is coming from on that.
Oh, when you lose a game, it's not one person in particular. I mean,
of course, it never is. It's multiple things that will continue to get into.
And the guy has been outstanding since he's been here. He's a secondary player. He's not a primary player. He's not. When I tell you guys about the ratings in the NHL of a 7 is a franchise player, a 6 is an elite player, a 5 is just a really solid, top 6 player. Casey Mittelstadt's a 5. That's what he is. And he's been playing like a 5, and he's been great. And
instead of focusing on Mittelstadt, hang on a sec. I might sneeze again here. Okay, no, we're good. Instead of focusing on Mittelstadt, I want to focus on... Here's the only route I can get to seeing some frustration with Mittelstadt tonight. And it's a stretch, but the Avs power play. A lot of people were talking about, hey, does he really make sense in that role net front that would normally be Nichushkin's role? Sure, I could see you wanting to try other guys in that role. But my point being more so less Mittelstadt and more the power play as a whole. You came off a great night against Nashville. You come into this game, you have multiple power play opportunities that have both the opportunity for you to take the lead and to get you back in this game, and you're unable to convert on any of them. We talked in the pregame, the Avs have a penchant for looking for the perfect play sometimes, particularly against these weaker teams. How do you get them to stop? How do you fix that on a night where you're watching Max send pass after pass through the seam that's just never going to get through? Do you just have to live with that and say, yeah, the Avs play games like that sometimes, or is there a solution?
If you look at the last 5-6 games, there's some unbelievable highlight goals, and that's the problem.
They saw it work, so they're like,
that's the answer to your question. They see it, they can make it happen. That's how good they are. And that's how beautiful they are to watch. They're fun to watch. But my frustration tonight is, if it's not there, it's not there.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. There's 4 sticks on the lane. Like, on the PK, like, and they're clogging up that freaking beautiful pass across. It's not there tonight. Then don't do it. I mean, but it's so tempting because it's so beautiful when you do it, and they do it so many times, and they do it so often. But they have to be better when they see something that's not working. You got to stop doing it. And it's the big difference between like, oh, yeah, we stuck to the game plan. No. That's totally different. You know what I mean? This is just like being stubborn about a seam pass or whatever it is. It's not there. It's not there. They're taking it away. Give credit to Columbus. They made sure their sticks were in the lane. They talked about it. They watched. They were embarrassed last week. They watched video. Like Megan said, they were ready. They were prepared for the game. And they weren't going to get embarrassed tonight. And then they didn't because their PK shut the Avs PP down.
Yeah.
Like probably with their eyes closed, with a cigarette on their left hand and a brandy on their right hand, like, and their eyes closed. I mean, it was, a couple times it hit the.
You said you wanted whiskey drinkers.
Well, there you go. Yeah, but I mean, no, the Columbus had whiskey, not the Avs. The Avs were just like stubborn, like teenagers.
For it.
Like I'm gonna do it.
No, I think stubborn's a good word.
No,
for it
I agree.
Because I look back to what does it work out to be? 4 power play opportunities that they aren't able to convert on, and they are trying different things a little bit. I see some guys rotating out, and so MacKinnon went to look for Drouin in the slot for the give and go, and Mittelstadt was there, and it didn't work because he's not Jonathan Drouin. And so that's not even on Mittelstadt in my eyes. It's just they were trying different things, but this is where it comes down to the in-game adjustments that we talked about at the top of the show, where they just needed to take the shot then. It's an issue of shot selection because obviously they took plenty of shots. And in the month of March, they've actually legged the league in shots for. So it's not just an issue of taking shots. It was the shot selection.
That's right.
And they needed to not look for the skill play and just take shots from the perimeter, from in between the hash marks, honestly, from anywhere you'll get it. But they were trying to only create inside home plate. And that is where they couldn't get those seams through.
And it doesn't. First couple of power plays, okay, fine, whatever. You're not that far into the game. You believe you're a talented hockey team, sure. But you get those power plays in the third period. You're 40 shots into this game. You have a pretty good feel for the fact that you're getting a little bit goal lead tonight. You should understand the score and how to effectively be able to produce a goal in that situation is exactly how the Avs get their goal from Chris Wagner. It's not going to be the skill play that gets it done.
No. It was a Walker shot out high, redirected from a crazy Wagner stick.
Yep.
But then again, you're blaming. If you're gonna blame something, which I hate to do because it's an assemble of stuff, right? When you lose a game, it's not one thing.
Yeah,
it's
don't never
multiple.
take one thing singled out. It's an entire picture.
But what I'm saying is, and again, I've been on a bench and I've been with star players, and fair or not fair, they're the ones that get on the ice for the power play. It's not Miles Wood. It's not.
And that's why they have to produce. That's what I'm upset with.
That is exactly what I'm saying to you right there. And it's not criticism. Those guys usually produce, and they get paid to produce, and it's awesome. And that's why they are adored, and that's why they are at the top of the league, and that's why their jerseys are going to be in the rafters one day at Ball Arena. It is. But on a night like tonight, you have opportunities, and that's why we said it before the game, sharpen your skills, right? You say, get on the power play. Like, it's better than practicing against your own, right? Your own. You're playing a game, even though Columbus is not going anywhere, it's still an opponent. It's still somebody you have to respect. It's still the NHL. It's still good players. And you go there, and you have to great. Last game, you went 3 for 6. Awesome. What did you do tonight?
Yeah.
What have you done for me tonight? That doesn't matter last game. So tonight you're down. Things aren't really clean. You're not getting those rebounds. The goalie's getting lucky. He's falling down. He's making. It doesn't. You need the power play, especially in 7 games from now when the dance starts. You need timely goals from the power play. And who is on the power play? Your elite guys.
Yep.
And again, I'm not blaming that on that side, but I'm saying it's a big part of the game. They didn't use the power play to get themselves back on because it was too cute. Yeah, there were shots. Awesome. Great. Great. Awesome.
And like,
they weren't smart.
To be fair, part of the reason why I am not overly worried about this game is this is the third game in the last 40 that Nathan MacKinnon hasn't produced a point. Like, it's crazy. Not something that happens to the Avs very often.
100%.
So,
exactly.
Take it with the grain of salt and understand that one game where the Avs' best players didn't produce
it just didn't go
does not a consistent issue make. But, nonetheless, they needed the top guys tonight, and they didn't get it done. Well, I might not be super excited about this hockey game from the Avs. I am super excited to bring our new partnership with your Front Range Toyota stores here to DNVR. Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR. Of course, they have tons of different vehicles, something for everybody. A lot of people in the chat during the watch along were Toyota truck people, saying they loved the Tundra and their other options out there. They also have tons of electric and hybrid vehicles. They offer more low and zero emission vehicles combined than any other automaker to give customers numerous choices to reduce their carbon footprint. That includes 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, including trucks like the Tundra iForce Max. So whatever it is, they've got the vehicle for you. Their SUVs take command on the road and on the trail. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Go check them out. Get the official vehicle of DNVR. And they're also Toyota, the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche. Then, make sure you're hitting up Bet365 even. Go over to Bet365, use code DNVR365. Bet $5 on any NHL game to get $150 in bonus bets. The Avs strategies for betting did not work out great tonight. But, maybe you should have been an emotional hedger tonight. If you bet against the Avs on a night like tonight, at least you win money when the Avs lose, all right? Happy to give away a few bucks on that. Then either the Avs win and you're happy, or you win money and you're happy. So one way or the other, that's a way to get in with it. Use the QR code on screen to download the Bet365 app today and use that DNVR365 code to sign up. Of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado, and if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Look, let's talk about Annunen. Don't think he played all that bad of a game by any stretch. Gives up 3 goals. You don't love the second one. He drops the glove. He gets beaten on a shot from the top of the circle. The other 2, I don't know really what he's supposed to do about them. One's a redirect right in front of the net. And then the other one is a grade A chance. So off a weird bouncing puck thing.
I just believe one more save tonight and they have a chance. And I'm not blaming him. I'm saying if he makes one more save, instead of 3 on 20, you make it 2 on 20. Yeah. Make one more save, then maybe they have a chance at a comeback. We'll never know. But that's my only nitpicking of his game tonight.
Okay. Any hate from this side or happy with it? I mean, don't think you're happy with anything tonight, but
no. And I'm so obviously seeing things through Eustace glasses.
Sure.
I can make an argument on each of these goals, things I didn't like before the play.
None of these are solely on Eustace, for sure.
And that's why, because it's such a close game until the final minutes.
Yeah.
With the little bit of a push that Colorado gave, that Eric is right. One save better could have been a different outcome.
You're just one goal away.
I'm just not coming too hard on Eustace for this one.
I agree with Megan for sure on that. I'm way more of a look. If the Avs were a couple inches better on the offensive side, you're up 2-0, 3-0, and Columbus goes away. And this isn't a hockey game. For me, the offense came up much shorter than the goaltending, at least. Sure, the defensive issues on those plays too. Totally. If you want to get into that, I think you can be upset with some of that. But would you have liked a better game from Eustace? Sure. Is he top 3 problems tonight? Definitely not.
No, I did want him to stunt on Columbus.
Yeah.
Individually there.
But it didn't go that way. It's a weird game, right? Because through the first 30 minutes, I was really pretty comfortable with the way the Colorado Avalanche played.
Oh, yeah.
You had the second half of the first period, it felt a little sludgy. It felt like Columbus stopped the Avs from generating quite as much offense as they would have liked, but the Avs weren't giving up a ton either. And they had a good response. How do the Avs get through games like this more effectively? Because we've seen it a couple times now over this course of hockey where, despite playing well at the start of games, they're still not getting that first goal. They're still not... They've gotten the first goal some, but they find ways to lose the first period when they score that first goal. If the pucks aren't going in for them, it seems like inevitably one is going to come against them. You can almost feel it coming with this first one in Columbus here because the Avs haven't capitalized on their chances. Is that a skill issue, finish your plays, or is there some mental component playing in there?
It's got to be mental somewhere. I mean, if I'm pre-scouting the Avs and I'm getting ready to play a playoff series against them, I'm almost saying, like, hey, let's not score first. Usually it's always like in playoffs, like it's incredible, like who scores first, the win rate, the win ratio. Yeah. But against them, you're like, yeah, let's not score. Let's just leave this out 0-0 or you know what I mean? Because it's like those guys are so good, and when they get down one, again, tonight didn't work. But I don't know what it is. I don't know why. It's just a weird. It's a weird stat that they beat the odds on what it's supposed to look like. It's just not normal the way their numbers operate. It doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Zero.
I go back to the 26 comeback wins too, how it feels like some of it is there's a trust that they can get out of situations, and I wonder what their approach to conservation of energy is. Because they have made some impressive, especially third period comebacks, I just wonder if how they choose to apply themselves is spread out differently over the 60-minute span, that they can afford to just get a feel for the pulse of the game in the first period and then adjust accordingly. And I don't know. I think I'm overanalyzing it. I think they're not analyzing it enough and need to evaluate what's going on in the first, though I liked how they started this game. They looked like they deserved a better fate coming out of the first period.
I agree with that.
That is when, though, after they get the feel for the game, that I would have liked to see the adjustment of, okay, we're clearly just not getting past this goalie the skilled way. We're going to have to do it the greasy way. And that's just not the adjustment that was made. Just
felt a little too casual at times tonight.
Yeah.
And again, had they finished their plays, they'd get away with that because they'd have been up 2-0, 3-0. But they weren't. And then, again, you mentioned the 26 comeback wins. So something that stood out to me tonight, but I really don't think is an overarching problem. It felt like they kind of crumbled after that first goal against tonight. It felt like that 10 minutes, Columbus gets that goal, they push, the Avs kind of go into their shell and ultimately end up giving 2 more away in that second half of the second period. Not a great response from Colorado. And, I'm sure they'll wake up tomorrow and still be themselves. But for a team that does have 26 comeback wins, I think you expect a better when you do get down a goal from that team. Am I right?
Again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. I didn't feel enough anger. I didn't feel enough. You got to be angry. When you got to be a little bit more intense or passionate about your game. I just felt that it was, and that's how good they are, because they looked real good at times, like you said, But I just felt there was a Sunday night, South Suburban freaking recreational 10 p.m. game, adult league. You know what I mean? I just didn't feel any, actually there's more intensity in those games sometimes than there was on this one, but I just didn't feel like nobody pushed each other, nobody looked at each other.
Yeah,
there was no passion. It was a friendly game. It was like, no whistles, let's play. I just didn't like it. what's his name, Walker got hit in the head there. I thought that was a bad hit.
Yep.
I don't think it was on purpose. I'm saying
Druin take a stick to the face.
Yeah, but I just felt there was just no pushback. From it just was more like, it's like, oh God, the clock's ticking down. Maybe we should make a push here. You know what I mean? And I just felt that it was blasé. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, they played the game.
Well, and I think that's where things fall apart for them. One, I wonder if there is a mental component of frustration that went unchecked inside the first period. The Sean Walker head
some interesting refereeing, we'll call it.
The imbalance of that. And then in the face of the Druin high stick, no call because he's looking down, they did have possession of the puck. It was interrupted, and the play was blown dead as a result of that.
Not penalty given.
And the Nylander goal happens shortly after that. And so I just wonder if there is some component of frustration that they didn't work through in that way. But in looking at playing a little too casually, too, even how the first goal against happens, I think is a lack of preparation in the face of a Cale Makar shot that gets blocked and play coming the other way. They just weren't really prepared to work hard on that back check. And that small mistake, I think, created a bad attitude for the rest of that period, because then it kind of spirals into Drouin getting hit in the face. There's no call. And then Josh Manson whiffs along the wall for that second goal against. And so it just felt like that's where things mentally got in their heads a little bit.
Is there a bigger concern about this because it's not just this Columbus game? You also just had the Montreal game where it felt like the Avs just went away for the second half of the game?
Well, when you go on a stretch run of you lose two games out of 14, I mean, you go on a run, you'll get away with stuff, and they did. They get away with a few things on that, whatever you want to call that streaking run they had of 9 games. But I mean, is it a concern? No. Am I concerned? No. Am I worried? No. Do I think that tomorrow they'll get up and be worried about their game tonight? No. Again, Megan said it earlier, we're here to discuss this game tonight. We're not here to discuss their first round opponents. If you go by this game tonight, it wasn't enough. I used to tell guys all the time, in development, if you go take a shower after the game and be honest with yourself and you ask yourself one question: did I leave it all out there? And if the answer is no, I could have, you know what I mean?
I don't think there are many guys who can answer that question yes tonight.
That's my point. Yeah. You know what I mean? And again, does that mean that they played a bad game? No. Does that mean that the other guy in net made some good saves? Yes. Did you have puck luck? There was no puck luck on their side tonight. They had a few posts. It went by a few times. It's right there, right at the start of the game. It's on the goal line. Maybe that should have told us right there, oh my God, it's going to be one of those nights. It's not going to go their way. But then that's my only thing, and I think the three of us are saying the same thing here, is when those things happen, sometimes you got to react and adapt during the game a little bit and maybe change your mentality of hey, let's get more greasy instead of being more cute, and let's try different things. And, I feel they fell short tonight on that.
Well, in looking at the recent stretch of games on the whole, I don't like that this is in such close proximity to the Montreal game, because it lacks a little bit of what that game lacked too. And some of it is more from the top guys, but the other part of it is more from the depth. And I'm not here to criticize the depth too harshly, because the Pittsburgh game also happens in that span.
And where they drag them out of hell. Yeah.
Exactly. So the point of the depth in me bringing it up, though, is the only thing I'm a little bit worried about moving forward is getting the third line going, because I'm not worried about the Avs' top players just because of this game. I have seen them pull off some impressive things over this last March in general, and I'm really happy with how that's trending. I still believe in Casey Mittelstadt's fit in the top 6, and there's a world where Val Nichushkin does rejoin the top 6 and just makes it that much better. It's the third line that I'd like to see get going, because you notice a difference when Trennan's not in the lineup. It just looks a little less complete in the bottom of the lineup.
That's a point I wanted to make. Not making up excuses, but no Trennan, Val Nichushkin would help push a guy like Brandon Duhaime back into your bottom six. And there's still, at some point, Nikolai Kovalenko is going to show up in this lineup too. So it did feel like the Avs' depth was a little bit thin tonight, just because they have guys out. That is what it is.
100%.
And I'll add that to it. Like, remember earlier I said to that point, I said, it falls on the top guys. It falls on the guys that get on the power play, to a certain extent. But don't think that as a bottom 6 guy or as a bottom 9 guy, you don't feel the pressure either. Like, you feel, because you're like, you know what, this guy, you just said it, 3 games in the last 40 that he hasn't had a point?
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, this guy's bailed us out all year long. Like, you know what I mean? So let's don't think they don't say that on the bench. Let's bail him out tonight. Like, it's not going for them. It's not going in. It's our job to create a big play and makes it just didn't happen. But don't think that it doesn't eat at you on the bench either. And again, you're always going to be looking at the top guys because that's their job to, and they're the ones that are out there with the better opportunities. Like I tell you all the time, like, it's hard to produce with shit ice. It is. It's a fact in the NHL. If you get crappy ice, and you know what I mean by crappy ice, no power play, 3-4 minutes a night, maybe, at even on each period, maybe. It's tough. It's not easy. Yep. You know what I mean? So now, it does eat at you when you have a night like tonight where it would be so nice, and then Wagner gets it. You know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, and then now Mittelstadt's like, okay, it's our turn. You know what I mean? Our line, right? That's where maybe Chat's right about, complaining a little bit about, second line production tonight. No, I get it. But sometimes it's just not in the cards. But don't think it doesn't eat at you. It does.
I'm sure. For maybe as disappointing as you felt like the effort might have been from Colorado tonight, it's not. You go into that locker room and every single guy will say, hey, we weren't good enough. We have to be better. 100%. They know. It's not like they're floating around thinking that was an acceptable thing. So just keep that in mind. And maybe before you blow a gasket, one, remember the Avs are still easily second in the Central Division. They've already clinched a playoff spot. Take a chill pill. Go grab a Coors Light. Have a little bit of chill time with the beer that's made to chill. Coors Light is the beer that you can get here. Brewed it right here in Golden, Colorado. It's a great beer to give a go. Awesome for any time you need to just take a minute to relax, to have a chill moment. Even if it's during a game, crack open a Coors Light, chill, and remember, we watch hockey for fun. It's supposed to be fun. Get yourself some Coors Light. You don't even have to go get it yourself. Go to CoorsLight.com/DNVR, and Instacart can deliver it right to your front door. So you don't even have to get up. Make sure you let them know DNVR sent you over there, and get cool, get chill, get Blue Mountains with Coors Light. When it's time to chill, Coors Light is the beer that I reach for. So when you want to hit that reset, grab the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with that. CoorsLight.com/DNVR and Instacart. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And then, if you're pre-gaming with some Coors Light and you want to go to the game, use Game Time to get yourself tickets. Game Time has over 15 million people who've gotten tickets with them. $20 off Game Time with code DNVR on your first purchase with them. You can download their app today. You can get a bunch of amazing deals, tons of different ways, last-minute tickets, section selector saves you 18% on average, and even if you find cheaper tickets somewhere else, Game Time will then reimburse you 110% of the ticket price. So they guarantee you'll find the best prices on tickets over at Game Time. Download their app today, join Game Time, get yourself some great tickets with that DNVR code. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Eric, you said something that stood out to me during the Avs win streak. When you win 9 in a row, when you go on these long win streaks, you're getting away with some things, right?
100%.
Has this last little stretch been the course correction of the Avs aren't getting away with those things anymore?
I was just thinking of the word, and then you said it, course correction, because I'm not that smart like you. And then that is exactly the word. You know what I mean? And it does, and it evens out, but you get away with stuff, and I always refer to it as the blackjack, right? You know, like there's some hands you just can't lose.
Yeah.
And then there's times where you get the greatest odds on your side and you lose that hand. And, you know, tonight felt like that one. You know what I mean? It's like you can't buy one. You can't buy a goal. It's just flickering, and you're doing the right thing, so to speak, but you're really not changing your style at the table. And you know what I mean? And then you end up losing your shorts and you go home with your head between your tails. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like that tonight. You know what I mean? And, you know, again, perspective is they're in the playoffs. They still have a shot at the first place in the division. And they're in for a friggin' fun, interesting, and awesome spring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe it, you know. Now, tonight, it is what it is. You can only play the opponent that's in, like you say all the time, the game that's on the schedule. It's the only thing you can do is play that game. Was it an exciting game with guys like that aside, that it's the NHL, it's awesome, and you're excited. It's great, yeah. I'm sure I'll tell you the cliches, but somewhere, somehow, like, it's not like...
Some games suck, man. Some games, they suck.
It's not like the other day, the Rangers coming into town. It is the Rangers, original six. They're the top of the league, and you're like, okay, this is a good test. Like tonight, like I said to you, there's no disrespect to the Columbus Blue Jackets, but you know, you're grabbing your coffee at Starbucks, and you're like, oh, I'm going to play. And like I said, it's a privilege to play in the NHL, yes, but sometimes you are human, and you know, there wasn't enough emotions, involvement in the game. You know what I mean? It was just like, I'm just playing the game. You know, which is not good enough in this league, you know.
Sure.
Not with only now 7 games to go and a bid for the top of the Central on the line, and an interesting schedule for the rest of the way. You know, they'll have Minnesota twice before the end of the season, so those will be interesting tests. But then it just doesn't get easier. They have Edmonton twice, Dallas, Winnipeg, and Vegas in there as well. So this Minnesota game coming up, and that's not to describe Minnesota as the weaker competition. It's the weaker of the remaining games in the schedule. And that is why it'll be interesting to see how they respond with the game coming up this week.
You just dropped what should have been on paper the easiest game of the season left.
Because there really aren't easy ones left.
Yep, exactly.
And that's why I like it, because I think there'll be some emotional involvement against Dallas, against Vegas, against, you know, the Wild is the Wild. But, you know, the Wild are starting to shut their guys down now, right? I think Marcus is out now and, you know, things like that. They're like, okay, season-ending injuries. So this is a team you should beat. But I think there's always emotional involvement when we go to Minnesota because of there's been some, you know, some hatred over the years. And, you know, so it's kind of, it's a game it's easy a little bit to get up for. So, and especially after a loss like tonight. So I'm not worried about it. Do I expect better? Yes. Am I worried about it? No.
Fair enough.
Right.
I do want to switch gears a little bit and talk about at least a handful of positive things for this game, starting with Chris Wagner. I know he took a penalty that wasn't amazing, but nonetheless, the only goal scorer for the Avs tonight. And on the other penalty kills that the Avs had, he helps the Avs penalty kill stay perfect. That's a tough ask of a guy to come in, replace a Yakov Trenin, who's been amazing for the Avs so far, and to be able to produce a goal in that moment, even if it is a greaser one. He knows who he is. He knows what he has to do to make it work. And it's awesome to see that the Avs can have someone reliable as a depth option like that for them. So, did want to give Chris Wagner a little bit of flowers there. And then jumping off that, for all of the power play struggles, the Avs penalty kill continues to be very, very good right now. So, at least that side of special teams is a bit reliable.
Well, and I don't know what this looks like the rest of the way, but Freddie Olofsson is also still a depth option down the line.
He is.
And you don't want to see it get to that point.
Sure, but if it does, that's an interesting positive that the Chris Wagners can come up, having played at even fewer games and fit so well. I think they're just very well prepared with what they're doing in Loveland. It seems like it's always been designed with being prepared for the Avs in mind, but it seems especially so this year. Yep. Certainly has over the past couple of years, a note of emphasis for Colorado as an organization, I think. So I'm trying to find a few silver linings here. At least there were some good things to talk about. Ultimately, you need more out of most of the Avs lineup. Particularly, sure, if you want to say some nights you don't have it, okay, fine. But the Avs defense as a whole can give you so much better than that. Better than whiffing pucks at the offensive blue line. Better than some of the failed clears that we've seen crop up for them.
Didn't see a lot of activation. Didn't see a lot of... I mean, maybe I'm wrong. But at the eye test level, I didn't see it. I saw weird decisions with the puck that led to, a couple goals. I saw, like I said, not enough passion, not enough heart rate. Richard Simmons, heart rate. Bring your heart rate up. You guys are too young. God.
I know who Richard Simmons is. Come on. I don't understand why he always wore a spandex jumpsuit, but
Mike Richter came in as him one year. Oh my God! As Halloween party was awesome. He was in character all night. Heart rate.
Oh God! Oh God!
I was like, oh, you're killing me.
Were people really that into weird exercise videos in the 80s?
Oh yeah, they were everywhere, man.
Okay.
Remember Suzanne Summers? Like you had the,
Yeah, all of these are like vague, weird infomercials from when I was a really young child. So.
Then you had the fluorescent, outfits all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
We should bring them back. I'm just kidding.
Woof. I mean, that might be more entertaining than this game was from Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were parts of this game that were entertaining, but I don't know. It's ultimately a disappointing one for Colorado, I think, no matter how you shake it out. And like you guys said, there's 7 games left. Realistically, the Avs made their path to potentially winning the Central quite a bit harder tonight, but they still do face Dallas directly. They still don't control their own destiny anymore, though.
No.
If Dallas wins out, even without the Colorado-Dallas head-to-head, then Dallas wins the West or the Central. So, it's certainly a bit frustrating from Colorado's standpoint, but on a bigger picture, I don't think I'm ringing any alarm bells tonight. Is there any bigger level concern? No? Okay. Thought so. Doesn't make tonight and their stubbornness any less frustrating. But at least you feel pretty confident in a team as a whole, even if this one you didn't like. On that note, we are brought to you by the folks over at Infinity Park in Glendale. It's a great place to go catch a rugby game and also to just have a day out, a night out. Infinity Park, awesome venue if you've never been. You got to go check it out. It's just a cool place to hang out too. They have like an arcade, and it's an awesome place to go and have a picnic over nearby. But they also have the American Raptors playing over there right now, and you can get in for just $10 and kids under 12 for free to go check out some of the best rugby in the USA. You can also follow our guy Colton Strickler on the DNVR Rugby podcast to learn more about rugby. He's got 101 pods if you're new. He's also got all interviews and in-depth stuff for all of the diehard rugby people. You got to go check it out if you haven't yet. It's one of the best rugby podcasts you can get out there. And then go to AmericanRaptors.com to get your tickets. Again, just $10 for an American Raptors game. You can also stream their games live on AmericanRaptors.com. The Avs, I don't know how to work this one into a roof tonight. I'm out of them. I'm out of ideas. Just go to RedHawkRoofing.com and make sure you get your roof checked out. You can get a free inspection from Red Hawk Roofing. They'll come out, they'll look at your roof, they'll get up there, they'll take pictures, they'll show you everything that's going on up there. Hopefully everything's fine. If there are issues, they can get them all sorted out for you. And if you're lame and you don't want to get your roof inspected, they also have 24/7 service. So even if something bad does happen in the middle of the night or there's an emergency or anything like that, Red Hawk Roofing has your back. They're a local Colorado roofer here too, so hit them up at redhawkroofing.com and get your roof good to go. Last bit of the DNVR Avalanche podcast here. I think we had 1 or 2 super chats. Yeah. $2 from August, who says, "Why don't you guys take calls?" Well, because we take super chats. So there you go. They're light calls, sort of. $10 from James, who says, love the pod, guys. Eric, appreciate the level head as always. R.I.P. Megan's $5. Look, you got to lose money sometimes to make money, all right?
That's right.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
Being a big believer costs me sometimes.
At least you have the faith, all right?
Wait, you know what? It was worth it. The odds were there, you know?
Yep.
So
and it's been good in the past.
that's what I'm saying. It's a blackjack hand. Sometimes you just can't.
Yep.
Sometimes you do.
Sometimes the dealer's got blackjack, man.
Yeah.
It happens. All right. Look, at the end of the day, it's a bad loss, but also Winnipeg has lost, 6 in a row now? I know some of them are in overtime, but...
Did they tie it?
I think they tied it tonight. I don't know if it's going to overtime or what, but...
Wow.
Let's not pretend like the Avs are the only team losing games in the NHL right now, because...
It's going to a shootout.
Is it going to a shootout? Okay.
I think so. Wow.
You can be upset with the game, but just remember the big picture. That's what I would say. The Avs are still a very good team. And while I might not believe in the Val Nichushkin, the Avs absolutely need him to win, he does make the team better. So when the Avs get some of these guys back from injury and or sickness, they're a better team. And, they should be a better team as is. I get it. But my belief has not wavered in the fact that the Avs should be a very, very good team in the playoffs. They still have to go out and do it. Is what it is. That's all I got for tonight, unless you two have any other final thoughts you want to add. Nope. Okay. Well, we are going to wrap up this post-game show. Then we appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We are off of the next 2 days. So our next day back will be the Thursday game. So you won't see us on the podcast here. You will see some other content coming out, though. Obviously, all of our post-game stuff tonight. But beyond that, we will have other stuff at thednvr.com. If you haven't become a diehard yet, do it and go check out Megan's piece on Ivan. She just dropped the other day. A great little piece on some of the insights to what Megan was talking about earlier about the Eagles pipeline up to the Avalanche. Plenty more stuff coming your way, even if it's not the podcast. We appreciate you guys, and we will talk to you on the next one.
We all silly like the mayor.